Let's start off with a question. Can oral hygiene be crushing your gains? Now, I know this sounds a little ridiculous probably to most people, but do you think that what you're doing here can be affecting how you're performing here? And no, I'm not advocating that you need to completely forego your oral hygiene and crush raw cloves of garlic before going to the gym just to keep people from coming up to you and distracting you from your training. That would be ridiculous. But would you be surprised if I told you that things like your blood pressure when trying to uncontrollably flex, your workout performance, and your ability to get that sweet muscle pump during your workouts can all be affected by your daily oral care routine? And what if your risk profile for this happening could all be determined from questions like your brushing frequency, your tongue cleaning practices, and or your use of antiseptic mouthwash? You might just want to pay attention.
That's why careful mothers and their children gargle with Listerine antiseptic.
Nitric oxide is an endogenously produced gaseous signaling agent.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in a gym, is the pump.
What do you mean? Who am I? I'm the tooth chicken.
Key physiological processes that include blood pressure in the form of vasodilation, the immune response, forms of neurotransmission, and inhibiting platelet aggregation, among other factors.
Luckily today, they don't lean on fallacies about dental health. Instead, they've learned the facts.
Now, if you're not already familiar, you may be asking yourself the question, what is nitric oxide? Nitric oxide is a gaseous signaling molecule comprised of a nitrogen and oxygen atom and a little free electron on the side. It's produced by nitric oxide synthase enzymes in the body. In this case, we'll be specifically talking about eNOS, or endothelial nitric oxide. The eNOS protein utilizes amino acids such as L-arginine and L-citrulline, which are common ingredients in pre-workouts. The nitric oxide this produces is associated with vasodilation, which decreases blood pressure and increases blood flow. Unfortunately, this eNOS protein can become dysfunctional and dysregulated by either genetic variability or lack of cofactors necessary to produce nitric oxide. And decreased nitric oxide doesn't just decrease your performance and pump in the gym, but it can lead to significant adverse cardiovascular effects as well. Now, you might be thinking that if you have a dysfunctional eNOS protein, you're effectively screwed and that you're going to have these negative health effects because of low nitric oxide. Well, that might not be entirely the case. And the reason for that is because there's a bacteria in your mouth that can reduce dietary nitrates into nitrites, which produces nitric oxide in the body. The process works like this. You consume foods that have nitrates in it, an inorganic compound. Those nitrates digest, they get actually recirculated up to your saliva glands and then pump out into your mouth, where they react with the bacteria colony in your mouth. These bacteria then reduce the nitrates into nitrites, which is the active bioavailable form, which can then create nitric oxide. It's become commonplace in the past few years that we don't want to be on antibiotics frequently to damage our gut bacteria. However, some people use antiseptic mouthwash, which is damaging their mouth bacteria twice a day. There have been some really interesting research studies done in this field as well, where participants have their mouth bacteria tested, their nitrite levels tested, and then they're put on a mouthwash routine. Post-mouthwash routine, checking their bacteria and nitrite levels, individuals were found to have severely diminished conversion rates, not to mention things like heightened blood pressure as well. If you have performance-based goals and you are completely diminishing your body's ability to create nitric oxide from your diet, you might want to start rethinking your oral hygiene routine. Now, I'm not trying to say that you should completely change your entire oral hygiene system. All I'm trying to say is that if we look back into history, we can see the past with using antibiotics and our gut microbiome. We can understand how little we understood at the time, and that by taking these medicines, which killed off our bacterial colonies, ended up having long-term detrimental effects on our health and performance. Now, looking at our current base of evidence, we can see that very similar things are happening within the mouth. But now, instead of needing a prescription from a doctor to do something potentially dangerous, we can buy mouthwash off the shelves ourselves. I think a lot more information is going to be coming out about this in the following years. And all I want to do is try and prepare you for that information, perhaps show you where the current trends are moving, and allow you to make the decisions for yourself. Thank you for your time watching the video today, and I hope even if you're going to the gym minty fresh, you're still able to make those gains. Have a good one.